Welcome to another edition of OnsideSA, and it's warming up. Pre-season friendlies all over the place. We're starting to restructure the last one standing. There's a lot on the plate. We'll be speaking to international pundit Stevie B. He's in the UK. Budge, you've been watching a few of the friendlies. It's good to see what's out there.
Every Man United supporter's all of a sudden got his shirt on.
Yeah, they found their voice, those
Found their voice, yeah. And a lot of Liverpool boys have gone missing.
It's a friendly in Thailand, you know.
Paul, what was funny is walking with Kenny Craig on the Tuesday, and Willie Miller's a staunch Liverpool supporter, always wears his shirt. Oh, we're going to give you a hiding. I said, Willie, remember this.
Did you say Willie?
Yep. It said, this is a cup final for Man United. For Liverpool, it's just a pre-season friendly.
Yeah,
so Ten Hag's first game. Imagine if United got beat 4-0. There'd be chaos, but it was a good start, Paul. You can see the style, but it means nothing.
Absolutely nothing. But, Wigan played Liverpool. It was about their fourth side.
Yeah, but
they were
just to beat Liverpool
Wigan
and keep them quiet for a few weeks. Well, they only get beat 4 in the league game in a couple of weeks, but still,
All right, should we get hold of Steve?
Yeah,
let's speak to Steve and talk about Premiership signings.
No panic. Steve, good morning.
Good morning, guys.
Morning, Steve.
What's the latest? Sterling went through finally?
For 47.
Yeah, that's gone through, just about 47 million. A good signing. He's happy to come back down to London.
Yeah.
And I think probably a good signing all round. Maybe a little bit of a loss to City because although he wasn't a regular starter in the Premier League, when he did play in the Cups and came on, he scored goals. So, good for Chelsea and. Obviously, he was a good servant in those years he was at City. And he's still a young man. He's 27. He's been around a long time.
Yeah, I like
England's national good player.
Yeah, a good player.
Very
for
good
England.
player. Every team he's played for, he's been a good player.
He's done a good job. Good signing for Chelsea.
Very good player. I agree. Other signings. Let me talk about Spurs just for a moment. Linglet has come in.
Okay,
he's coming in. It's our fifth signing. At left back. They all went off to South Korea. I was getting the updates and. Conte's famous for his pre-seasons. Yeah, Kane was puking, Song was puking. The fittest of the lot. They had to do 42 runs.
Yeah, 42. The
42
third
like
session.
Our old Man United, And the 42, the fittest at the end was the Irish kid Troy Parrott.
Okay, well he's 19 or 20.
Yeah, he was ahead of the centre half. What's his name? Sanchez and Dyer were pushing on. The rest was sprawling. Yeah.
I heard it was on ESPN. Steve Nicol was crazy. He said, "What in my day?" He said we hated pre-season, but it was the third session of the day. Apparently, had them 42 laps or lengths of the pitch. He said when people get injured, he said see what happens. He said, but that's his method. So
it works. He's got a big squad. Who didn't travel? Obviously, Lo Celso and Ndombele, Winks. Roden is injured. He couldn't travel. Okay. So I think the first three I mentioned are up. Bergwijn.
Yeah, he's gone.
Yeah, so it's going to be 90 million.
Surplus to requirements.
Yeah. But who else? Who have Man United signed?
No, is Eriksen going through?
I heard it is.
It seems if it is, it's going through slowly. It looks like United are going to sign Martinez. They're after him from Ajax. And, they're still hoping to get Frankie de Jong. I think Barcelona will sell him because they want to be able to fund Lewandowski and Rafinha. Yeah. So I think there's a chance that could happen, but it seems to be slow. But, I think the first United signing, by the sounds of it, to come through in the next day or two could well be, they've agreed to personal terms, it's just agreeing the fee with Ajax now.
Okay.
I got given a question this morning, but it's just changing tack for a second.
Yeah.
And I couldn't answer it. And the guy said to me, the Bundesliga, which great players have left the Bundesliga and done brilliantly in the UK or anywhere else in the world? Is that...
Well, it's a selling league.
League,
a couple of months ago, I went through Borussia Dortmund, the players that they've sold, the Aubameyang's and Mkhitaryan's and those
Have
guys.
they stood up?
Well, Aubameyang did have a good start.
He started, but...
other than that, there's been Sancho's been a failure.
The two up front for Chelsea.
Werner and Havertz. Yeah.
Havertz, they haven't shone. And the guy had a very good point. Maybe Steve, maybe who are the Germans that have come over and made, recently, I'm talking about the last decade, who've made it?
Well, you say that, but obviously a lot of their big players generally tend to stay in Germany and come maybe a little bit later. Obviously you got Haaland, but he's not German, so
but he's from the Bundesliga.
He'll be back. I think Jude Bellingham
Yeah.
So when you look at, I guess, Jadon Sancho, I mean, look, had a fantastic spell over there at Dortmund, and he's come over to United, and he's been a bit of a disappointment to date. So, look, every league different. Players do well in one league. Somebody was saying that Lewandowski didn't want to come to the UK because he just felt that he wouldn't be able to score the amount of goals that he was getting in the Bundesliga. So, whether that's true or not, remains to be seen. So
it's not the best
if a
breeding
player's good
ground.
enough, then they'll do well wherever they are. And be interesting then to see Haaland, who obviously has been a star for a couple of years at Dortmund, how well he does at City.
Yeah, well, I think you get a million chances whether he can convert them or not. The physicality of the league is another aspect that he's going to struggle with. There's been a few Man
City guys that put up front that have struggled, and great support. When you get David Silva and people like that giving you the ball. Yeah. Who else was the big signings? Any of the smaller clubs made big signings?
Yeah, that's what they say. Arsenal, well, Gabriel Jesus scored 2 goals for Arsenal in his debut. So I think Arsenal...
Spurs won 6-3.
6-3, yeah. Son got a penalty. I think he scored 2 and Kane got 2.
I saw they sent me the clips of Kane's goal. Yeah. Brilliant.
Yeah, you play another South Korean team before you... It was actually interesting, Steve. I made a list of the total friendlies. United play 6, Tottenham 4, Arsenal 5, Liverpool 4, Chelsea 4, and your Fulham boys 4.
So that's the average.
That seems to be the average.
Yeah, but you often, but what like, for example, I know that Fulham are playing 1 or 2 games behind closed doors.
Yeah.
Against other teams that they don't sort of advertise because obviously fans can't go and see them. So quite a few teams might be playing, closed door friendlies. So if Tottenham said before, it might be that we're playing somebody in a behind the closed door sort of friendly. Yeah. So we don't get, it's only the ones where the fans are going pretty much that you get to hear about.
Yeah, you say they're all high profile. Try and get the fans in, make a few million north of the border or east or west. Yeah. Steve, before we go to the MLS, we start. Wayne Rooney took over at DC United.
In America.
Is that a surprising move to you?
I think the fact that it sort of seemed to happen quite quickly. Yeah. I guess in as much that he obviously played for DC a few seasons ago and obviously enjoyed it out there. For me, it is a bit of a surprise because I thought he did a good job at Derby and he probably could have got himself a reasonable club in the UK. But if he does well at DC, is that going to help his credibility to come back here? I don't know.
Is that District Columbia?
They're sitting bottom of
Washington.
So they are bottom of the
club in
Eastern
Washington.
Conference. Yeah, they drew last night 2-2. They scored an injury time. But where else would he have gone? I listened to a talk show with Jim White and that guy that was the guy that was at Palace, and he was saying, well, where could he go? He couldn't get a job in the Championship, so he was having a go at him. That Simon Jordan.
That's not true. That's not true.
I'm not sorry about that. I mean, look, the truth is, he didn't have to go anywhere. He didn't have to rush. It's not like, he's worrying about where the next meal is coming from. Yeah. So, my understanding is his wife, Colleen, and children, she has made it very clear she is not moving to America. Her children are all at school. They've got a big new house in Cheshire that's been built. She's not moving. Okay. So, I don't know how long he'll be out there for.
More than I think it finishes in October.
Simple answer, get divorced. Simple answer, get rid of Colleen and stay in football. That's where you made his money.
Yeah. Steve, on to the MLS. Obviously there were games last night. We'll go through them, obviously, as we talk about the teams. Sure. First one, Canadian derby, Montreal versus Toronto. How do you see that going? Toronto got beat last night by Chicago.
I mean, Toronto, literally just one off the bottom of the Eastern Conference. Yeah. Montreal having a reasonable season. I fancy. I know they had a big defeat recently against LA, but I think Montreal will be too strong.
Yeah, amazing home ground advantage. They played in the Cup a couple of weeks ago, and Toronto destroyed them. But you never know with Montreal. But I agree, of the two teams, they are the better side. Now, Philadelphia have only lost 1 in the last 13. And they won last night 2-1 away against Inter Miami. Now I watched New England play the other day. They're not a bad team, Steve. I know 8-10. I wouldn't be taking 8-10, but I think a draw's a possibility in this game.
Yeah, well, I mean, Philadelphia's last home game, they scored 7.
Yeah.
So
it's DC United there.
They're sitting top of the Eastern Conference.
Yeah.
I think they deservedly should start as favourites.
Yeah, deserve. They've got the best defensive record. Now, New England played New York City. That's the game I watched last week. New England had chance after chance, and then they gave away a stupid penalty, and then their centre-half got sent off, and they got beat 4-2. I was impressed with what I saw. So just on that, I think they do have a chance. But obviously, Philadelphia, top team in the East, 8-10, not for me, but I wouldn't blame it if you took it. Now, Chicago, my man Shaqiri's playing there. The little Swiss,
boy.
Icelandic Messi, he's there. They've won 3 and lost one of the last 4 against Seattle. But I watched Seattle play last week, Steve. I think you fancied Port. They beat somebody 3-0 away from home. Geez, they've got some boys up front that can gallop. Goals are a formality here. Which way are you going, Steve?
Well, Chicago, a few weeks ago were rock bottom and they pulled themselves up. They had a big win, as we know, when they beat Philadelphia. But, Seattle are a bit up and down. They were favourites to win against Portland and they lost 3-0 at home.
Yeah, they had a player sent off though,
I think Chicago home form might just count.
Yeah, I think there'll be goals guaranteed. But Seattle got some whippets up front, The next game we go on to is Inter Miami, who I fancied last night, but Philadelphia beat them easily. At home against a Charlotte team that are only won one of the last 4 away from home, Steve. I fancy Inter Miami. How do you see it?
Phil Neville will obviously sort of gee them up a bit. Charlotte, they're doing okay. They're in the top 8 in the conference, but again, you sort of think that Inter Miami are very up and down. You don't know what you're going to get from them. Yeah. I would have thought if having lost, I think they've started to sink. They're only sort of 4 off the bottom, but I think of the 2, probably just about start as favourites.
Yeah, totally agree. I like them. Yeah, Higuain was on the bench last night, the Argentinian. Came on the last 20 minutes and scored, So 12-10, I think it's not a bad price. Minnesota, who cost me money last week when I watched them destroy Vancouver away from home, against a Wayne Rooney DC United team who equalised in injury time. He's in charge. They drew 2-2 last night. I fancy Minnesota, Steve, strongly. How do you see it?
No, I think you might get the new manager bounce, but obviously he's only just gone there. But I think Minnesota will be too strong.
Yeah, me too. Steve, on to the second page, Columbus against LA Galaxy. I had the misfortune of waking up at 5 o'clock this morning and watching the second half. They were 3-0 down, LA Galaxy against Colorado.
Yeah.
The Rapids, they drew last night at home against Orlando. Goals are an absolute certainty in this game. Which way it goes, I don't know, but I think LA Galaxy have kept 1 clean sheet in the last 9. So if you took 11-10 Colorado, I wouldn't blame you, even though they are winless in 6. How do you see it?
Yeah, they've been very disappointing, the Galaxy. But then Colorado, as you say, they've slipped right down. They're only just 1 off the bottom of the Western Conference. Galaxy you just don't know what you're going to get from them. You fancy Galaxy of the 2, but again, they've had a couple of bad home defeats recently. So whether they do a little bit better on the road remains to be seen. But I think of the 2, I'd probably fancy Galaxy.
Yeah, the only problem is they've conceded 6 goals in the last 2 home games. Their back four's as porous as Man United's. So goals would be the way I'll go there. Now, another disappointing team is Dallas. They're quite high up in the Western Conference. I thought that upset New York City last night, but they got beat 1-0. Austin are top of the Western Conference. 5 out of 6 wins, 4 away from home. The betting looks the wrong way around to me, Steve. What do you think?
Yeah, no, absolutely. This happened last week.
Yeah.
Austin were...
Yeah, it was your each-way value bet.
3-1. Absolutely, and I'm probably going to go the same. I just think, they're having a great run. As you say, 4 away wins in a row, scoring goals. They're top by a point over LAFC. Yeah. I think I really expect them to go and win that one.
Yeah, me too. I just can't believe. I think they were 8-10 win and draw, but 32-10 is a great bet. Atlanta, 3 wins out of 4 in the last home games against Orlando City. You always seem to upset the apple cart. I watched Atlanta beat Inter Miami a while ago. It looks like they're playing a tennis court. It's Grand Prix. They've got these couple of guys up front that catch pigeons. Atlanta, Steve?
Yeah, I think just about. Orlando is still sitting in 5th place.
Yeah.
They're so inconsistent. And at home, as you say, Atlanta's pitch and everything, it probably just makes them favourites.
Yeah. And the next game also, I think they got the betting the wrong way around. Columbus, they are going well. They drew last night at DC United against a Cincinnati team who are unbeaten in 6. I fancy win and draw the away team, Steve. How do you see it?
Yeah, Cincinnati, I think, are one of these teams that they sort of they go quietly about their business, and they're generally unfancied, and they're sitting 6th in the conference. So, but again, the Columbus don't lose many games.
Yeah,
and they've only lost 5 all season. I think for me that could go either way. I wouldn't be surprised if there's a draw there.
Yeah, Cincinnati was Jaap Stam's old team, and we had a local boy, a Westville guy, I forget his name. He coached them when they got promoted.
Gee, that's good for
them.
them.
Very good, yeah. Now, Steve, the next game is my bet of the weekend. I think the Red Bulls will beat New York City, just on what I've seen. How do you think? How do you see it?
Yeah, look, I mean, obviously it's a derby.
3 plays 2.
I mean, obviously you go with the home team, but New York City still, I mean, they're only a point off the top with the game in hand. So they score a lot of goals, New York City. I'm not so sure that necessarily they're going to want to lose against their hometown rivals.
Yeah.
I might sort of go the other way. I mean, I'm
Good on you, Steve.
Sure
Good on you. Make a statement.
Yeah. Now, I've watched New York City. They got beat. And I just like what I saw. They didn't deserve to get beat. I think Los Angeles beat them. But I was impressed with what I saw. They've had the break in midweek where New York City played last night. They beat Dallas 1-0. I fancy New York Red Bulls. Maybe it'll come back to haunt us. But New York City at the back are woeful. Just so they've got so many good attacking players. I agree.
Yeah,
plenty of goals.
They score
goals. For me, I'm over the Red Bulls. Yeah. Anyway, on to the next page. We've got Nashville, who beat Seattle 1-0 at home against an Los Angeles team, are expected to have Chiellini and Gareth Bale. Surely 21-10 is a fair price, Steve?
Yeah, I mean, Nashville are having a good season, but I think if Bale makes his debut, I just think LAFC, they didn't play this week.
Yeah.
They've got a game in hand. I think they'll be too strong. I like the look of LAFC.
Yeah, so do I. They beat LA Galaxy last week. They were cruising and then gave away a stupid goal, and they were hanging on. But with Bale and them sitting in attendance, you can imagine what's going to happen. 21-10, I think it's a great price. Now, Real Salt Lake, who got beat 2-1 at Atlanta, great home form, 6 wins and 3 draws. Surely they've got to beat Sporting Kansas City at home?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, they're sitting sort of top 4. Real Salt Lake Sporting are now bottom of the conference.
Yeah.
Unless there's a real shock, I would be very surprised if Real Salt Lake don't come back and win that.
Yeah, another team, San Jose, 9-10. They won 3-2. I couldn't believe the commentary. They're the best possession-based team in America, and they're sitting 12th in the Western Conference. But 3-0 up, 3-2, hanging on for dear life. Houston got beat 3-1 in Austin. Steve, another team I think should win, San Jose.
Yeah, I mean, Houston are not doing badly, really, in the grand scheme of things. But, there's not much to them. In fact, San Jose are only behind Houston on goal difference. So I think you're right. I think the home team should be favourites here.
Yeah, especially as Houston lost the last 4 away from home. But Hector Herrera from Atletico Madrid, he's just signed for them. He's come off the bench, so maybe he'll start and give them a boost. Steve, the last game, the Portland Timbers at home against Vancouver. How do you see it?
Well, again, it's another sort of West Coast derby. I mean, I think they surprised everybody by winning at Seattle last week. So, but Vancouver are very up and down. I think probably go with the home team. Probably just go with the home team.
Yeah, I actually watched them last week. They've got some quick forwards and they can score goals, but obviously it's in defence that there's the problem. Steve, on to Sweden, and that's picking up the league. Norrköping against Malmö, who sneaked through in the Champions League in midweek when they drew at Vikingur Reykjavik. How do you see that going? I fancy an upset. How do you see it?
Well, I mean, I was looking. Norrköping haven't won in 6.
Yeah.
Malmö not having, I mean, the 5th, they're not having the best season, but I fancy Malmö. I think they'll just be a little bit too strong.
Yeah, my reasoning behind it, Steve, is they've got Champions League in midweek, and we know how much the Champions League money comes to assist these teams. And Norrköping play on the artificial pitch where Malmö on the grass. So that was my assumption. I went win and draw Norrköping, looking for a bit of value. Now, Djurgårdens at home against IFK Benamo, 6 wins and a draw in their 7 home games this season.
Very too good.
4 to 10 is short. Do you agree?
It is short. It is short, but I think it's short for a reason. I think they'll be far too strong for. They're second in the table and scoring goals. I think they'll be too strong.
Yeah. How do you see ARK Stockholm going against Kalmar?
I think it'll be a good game. I mean, the two teams sitting in the top 6. I think ARK probably be favourites starting at home. I mean, Kalmar unbeaten in 5.
Yeah.
I picked them the other week and they got held by Helsingborg. But I think of the two, probably ARK just favourites.
Yeah, I agree. I think 8 to 10 is a good price. Now, Hammarby at home, going well. 4th Hammarby against an Elfsborg team who are 7th. How do you see that going?
Yeah, I think that's going to be a close game. I mean, Elfsborg unbeaten in 5. Hammarby, sort of only won one of their last 4. I think that's going to be close. You'd fancy the home team, but I wouldn't be at all surprised if Kalmar.
Yeah, as I said, Hammarby going well. Elfsborg, they drew last week with top of the take 2-2 So should be a close game. Goals look a good thing. On to our next page, Steve. We've got 8th place AFK Gothenburg against 9th place Mjalby. How do you see it?
Yeah, I mean, this sort of game can go either way. I mean, there's nothing to choose between them, just the points.
Yeah.
Gothenburg probably favourites at home. They'd lost last week, but they'd won their 3 previous games. I think I'd probably go with the home team.
Yeah, I agree. They won their last 2 at home, and we know how home form reacts in Sweden. Now, I fancy Sirius to beat Degerfors, Steve. 9 to 10. That I've included them in my bets. How do you see it?
Yeah, I think they'll be too strong. Degerfors are having a poor season. Haven't won in a few, conceded a lot of goals. So I think it's a home banker.
Yeah, totally agree. Now, top of the league, BK Häcken 5 to 10 on Monday night against GAF Sundsvall. You think that's a bit short?
Yeah, but I mean, Häcken are top. Unbeaten. They've only lost once all season. I think probably deservedly so. I think they're going to be too strong.
Yeah. GF Sundsvall's amazing. The home ground. They've won 2 of the last 3 at home, but Häcken 6 wins, 2 draws in the last 8. I agree. I just thought it would be a little bit bigger. And last but not least, Varberg's Bois versus a Helsingborg team I thought would score in midweek, but even money had a player sent off before half time, so that was the end of my couple of rand. The home team, Steve, good things?
Yeah, it should be. I mean, Helsingborg haven't won they've won once all season. I mean, they're bottom for a reason. I think the home team would be too strong.
Yeah, all right, Steve. Pressure time again. I think I know which way you're going, but your best bet and value bet, please.
Okay, so I was talking with the tennis player John McEnroe.
Okay.
I told him my best bet, and he said, "Stevie B, you can't be serious." And I said, "No, that's my best bet."
Serious.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah. That's in Sweden, Paul. The
my
black and blues, by the way. And you're on Austin, no doubt.
Going to go for Austin. I just think, sitting top of the table, won their last 4 away. Maybe something we don't. But looking at their form, I just fancy they'll go and win again.
They won 4 away from home. I just don't know with the betting. But anyway, the bookmakers make an opinion, and away you go. My best each way, Steve, is Los Angeles. I thought 21 to 10 with Bale and them starting, and I fancy the Red Bulls to beat New York City. But anyway, what can we do? Steve, thanks as always.
Good.
Take care.
Thanks very much, Steve. Speak soon.
Yeah, cheers. Have a good week.
Cheers.
Bye.
Right, Budge, let's go on to these soccer pools, your soccer 6.
Yep, we start off. These are the Pumalela ones, once it comes up here. I've got Norrköping win and draw at home against Malmö, looking for the upset. I don't see Bodo Glimt getting beat at Hamar Kamarateam. It's normally known as Ham Cam, obviously because of the mouthful and the spelling. The Maccabi Haifa, that's their State Cup game, Super Cup, Community Shield. I don't see them losing at home against Hapoel Beersheva. I'm going CA Independiente, win and draw at home against Rosario Central. I don't see Al Ahly losing against Pyramids. And I'm chancing Atletico Paranaense, only team that play on an artificial pitch in Brazil, to beat Internacional 192.
Okay.
On to the second soccer 6. I'm going Newell's Old Boys, win and draw at home against Racing Club. I'm going Santos to avoid defeat at Avai. I'm going the Philadelphia Union, win and draw at home against the New England Revolution. I'm going Seattle Sounders, win and draw against the Chicago Fire. I'm going Inter Miami to be too strong at home for Charlotte. And Austin, win and draw at Dallas, 192. On to our soccer 10, I'm going Atletico Paranaense, win and draw at home against Internacional. I don't see Newell's Old Boys, who are top of the league, losing against Racing Club, who are 4th. I'm going Santos, win and draw against Avar. I'm banking Flamengo to beat Coritiba, Boca Juniors to beat CA Toleras. Onto the second page, I'm going Philadelphia Union, win and draw against the New England Revolution. Corinthians to avoid defeat against Sierra. Seattle Sounders, another win and draw away from home against Chicago Fire. I'm banking Inter Miami to beat Charlotte, and going Austin FC, win and draw against FC Dallas, 256.
Lovely.
On to the soccer 13, which is a bit of a licorice short sorts one. I'm going Djurgårdens to beat IFK Venamo. I'm going Osters, win and draw against Ostersons. I'm banking the Spain woman to beat Denmark, the German woman to beat Finland. I'm going Sandefjord, win and draw at FK Jerv. Bodo Glimt to avoid defeat against Hamar Kamarateen. I'm banking HJK Helsinki to beat VPS Vasa. Onto the second page, I'm going IFK Mariehamn, win and draw against HIFK Helsinki. I'm banking ARK to beat Kalmar. I'm going Hammarby, win and draw against Elfsborg. IFK Gothenburg to avoid defeat at home against Mjolby. Banking RK Sirius to beat Degerfors at Landskrona Boys, win and draw against Visteris, 256.
Excellent. Well, those are the bets, Budge. Well done.
Sure, Paul. Nightmare as far as digging and researching.
It must be a nightmare, Budge.
What can we do, Paul?
Yeah.
We've got our bets to come, so
we've got to take our chances,
you know. Nothing ventured, nothing gained.
Yeah, let's go on to your Budgie's best bets.
Paul, the first two bets are the MLS. I'm going Minnesota to beat DC United and Portland to beat Vancouver. I'm going the New York Red Bulls to beat New York City and both teams to score. And I took 6.5 to 10 Los Angeles with a handicap with a 1 goal. So it's a double chance, a win and draw.
Yeah.
This thing, the handicap +1 is better odds. I don't know why. 3,300 to 200. As far as the team goals go, I'm going Los Angeles, Minnesota, New York Red Bulls, all to score over 1.5 goals. And I'm going Portland to score over 2.5 goals. 4,100
it's
to
a nice
200.
One.
On to our second bet, which was in Sweden. I'm going Djurgårdens to win by more than 1 goal against IFK Venamo.
Serious?
I'm going Sirius to be too strong for Degerfors, and Varbergs Bois to beat Helsingborg, and both teams to score on Monday. 3,200 to 200. On to Norway, we're going to take a flyer. I'm going Sarpsborg to beat Vålerenga and over 2.5 goals. I'm going Viking to beat Christiansens and both teams to score. And Handcam handicap +1 against Bodo Glimt. I think that'll end in a draw, 2,200 to 200. On to Brazil, where I'm going for both teams to score in the Atletico Paranaense Internacional game. Under 2.5 goals in the relegation clash between Juventude and Goiás. And over 2.5 goals and both teams to score no in the Palmeiras Cuiabá. I think Palmeiras will win 3-4-0 there, Paul. 7-2. That was the best bet of the weekend. 2,800 to 200. And Collis King, 6 on extra. I'm going the New York Red Bulls to beat New York City. Portland to beat Vancouver. Real Salt Lake to beat Sporting Kansas City. Djurgårdens to beat IFK Venamo. Flamengo to beat Coritiba. And Palmeiras to beat Cuiabá. 3,100 to 200.
It's not easier, but...
No, Paul. The thing is you can't watch much games.
No,
and, only the American games are on. And you're watching the YouTube highlights, Paul, 5 minutes. You can't get a good guide.
Yeah.
And people are putting their money on. And it's hard really to tip them, you know.
Well,
I know we take bets,
we
are
try. 3 weeks away or something from the...
Well, the championship starts the end of the month. And
that's right. That's
so at least that's okay, Paul. At least the better
and then
market.
on the 5th, I think...
well, the Community Shield, Man City, Liverpool, that's the end of the month.
31st, yeah.
So, it starts, Paul.
Yeah, so for those of you out there, don't forget, we're starting big with this last one standing. We're doing a few modifications about how many prizes we can get for different people, the women, the top 10 finishers, everything. We're really working hard. It's going to be massive. Till next time, stay on side.